Good morning, everyone. As a quorum is present, I hereby call the 2025 Higher Education Subcommittee meeting to order. The clerk will open the roll, and members are requested to indicate their presence on the electronic voting system. You're good. The clerk will close the roll. And welcome to the first meeting of the 2025 Higher Education Subcommittee. I'm honored to serve as chair of the subcommittee, and before we begin considering the bills on today's agenda, I'd like to take a moment to establish the ground rules for the proceedings. As your chair, it is my responsibility to ensure that we maintain order and decorum and that the subcommittee's work proceeds in an effective and efficient manner. While we may not always agree on every issue before us, I encourage us all to approach our discussions with respect and professionalism. I trust that we will engage in civil discourse and collaborate to achieve the best outcomes for our communities. Therefore, I will ask that all discussion be directed through the chair and in order to maintain proper order. And when you wish to speak, please use the request to speak button, and I will recognize you in the order in which your request is received. In addition, I ask that we provide ample time for public comment, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to be heard. Members of the committee will also have time for questions, which will be managed equitably. Regarding bill presentations, unless otherwise noted, I will allow all patrons 3 minutes to present their bill, followed by the presentation. There will be opportunity for 60 seconds of testimony from each speaker who wishes to speak in favor or in opposition of that bill. And afterwards, committee members will have 3 minutes to ask questions. And to those who have traveled to be here with us today or in the future, we are grateful for your presence, and your input is not only welcomed but valued. It is your right to participate in this government and to, most importantly, petition it. And we take that responsibility seriously. And before we move forward, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation for all those who helped to make these proceedings possible. That is our amazing clerks, DLS attorney, and IT staff. Without their tireless efforts, none of this would be possible. We deeply appreciate their support and keeping the subcommittee operating smoothly and ensuring that these proceedings are accessible to the public. Today we have 13 bills on our docket. That said, I have spoken to the patron of House Bill 1917, Delegate Martinez, and in an effort to provide additional time to reach a consensus, it has been requested that HB 1917 go by for the day. I will entertain a motion to do so. Is there a second? Having been moved and properly seconded without objection, HB 1917 goes by for the day. Okay, we are on to business before the subcommittee. First up, we will hear from Delegate Ward with House Bill 1930. It should be noted that typically we'll proceed in the order listed on the docket and hear bills by members of the subcommittee at the end of the meeting. But as chair, it is my prerogative to move outside of that order. And with that being said, Delegate Ward, we know that you have a conflict, time conflict, so we are happy to hear from you. The floor is yours.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, this bill, House Bill 1930, it's to uphold good governance practices. The Christopher Newport University Board of Visitors conducted a comprehensive review of its code section, bylaws, and policies, and after comparing them with those of other universities during the November 2024 retreat, they found that CNU has less operational flexibility than their peer institutions, leading to a request to update and align with their other sister institutions. Let me explain some of the proposed changes. One thing is the flexibility. It allows Christopher Newport University Board of Visitors to meet off campus when needed, instead of a current requirement to hold at least 4 on-campus meetings per year. And it aligns itself with other institutions that only require 1 on-campus meeting annually. And then it also permits the election of a rector vice rector, and secretary whenever vacancies occur, replacing the requirement of requiring the elections after July 1st of even number years. And then the third thing it does is provide flexibility to appoint an executive committee as needed rather than limiting appointments to the annual meeting. These changes just aim to modernize the governance, streamline operations, and improve the board's ability to adapt the new opportunities. That is it with the bill, and I'm here to answer any questions, and I may have some individuals from Hampton, from Christopher Newport University.
Thank you, Delegate Ward. Are there any questions from the subcommittee? Seeing none at this moment, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of the bill?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Tom Kramer, Christopher Newport University. I just want to thank the delegate for bringing the bill forward and for her work on this, and we support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone in the room who wishes to speak in opposition of the bill? Seeing none, and we do not have anyone listed online seeking to speak in favor or in opposition of the bill. The committee operates by motion.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly seconded to report House Bill 1930. The clerk will open the roll and members will record their vote. The clerk will close the roll. The bill reports on a vote of 9-0. Thank you, Delegate Ward.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Thank you. Next, we will hear House Bill 1595 from Delegate Fagans.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. I'm here to present HB 1595, the Virginia National Guard tuition assistance. This legislation is designed to support our Virginia National Guard by removing a financial barrier that affects recruitment, retention, and the educational goals of those who serve. Currently, Guard members must pay tuition upfront and wait for reimbursement from the state's Department of Military Affairs. This system places an unnecessary financial burden on our soldiers and airmen, forcing some to take loans out or use credit cards to cover costs. Others may forego using this benefit entirely due to the strain of paying out of pocket. Let me share a personal story. During my 20 years of service in the United States Air Force, I was fortunate to utilize similar tuition assistance models that paid institutions directly. With that support, I earned my associate's degree, my bachelor's, my master's, and my graduate certification. If I had been required to pay up front, I likely would not have achieved that same my educational goals. Access to education should empower our service members, not burden them. The current model has proven to be a significant issue for recruitment and retention in the Virginia National Guard. The numbers tell the story. In the fall of 2022, 414 Guard members utilized the tuition assistance program that paid directly to the institution. By the summer of 2023, when it reverted to members paying upfront and then on a reimbursement model, it then plummeted to just 79 service members across the state utilizing the program. This sharp decline reflects the challenges Guard members face utilizing the upfront payment model, as well as the barriers to accessing this critical benefit. HB 1595 proposes a simple solution: revert to the direct payment model. This would allow the Department of Military Affairs to pay a tuition cost directly to the educational institutions. Not only does this reduce the immediate financial burden to Guard members, but also aligns with a system proven to work effectively in the past. It's important to note that this legislation has no anticipated fiscal impact to the state. The Department of Military Affairs has confirmed that they can manage the increase to the program enrollment with existing resources. With that, I ask you to report favorably HB 1595.
Thank you, Delegate Fagans. Are there any questions from members of the subcommittee? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in support of the bill? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition of the bill? We do not have anyone listed online who wishes to speak in support or opposition, but yes, we have a, is there a second to the motion to move to report It will need to go to appropriations. You want to move to report?
Move to report and send it appropriations. Second.
All right. A motion has been made and properly seconded to report House Bill 1595 and send it to appropriations. The clerk will open the roll. House Bill 1595 reports on a vote of 9-0 and is referred to appropriations. Thank you, Delegate Fagans.
Thank you.
Next up, we have, well, we would have House Bill 1613, but I'm going to ask Delegate Askew to join you at the podium. Given that the two of you have very similar bills, have you all had the chance to speak?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have, and I think we've decided to roll Delegate Fagan's bill into my HB 1694.
Okay. So the subcommittee will operate off of a motion to incorporate House Bill 1613 into House Bill 1694.
So moved.
Without opposition, we will roll in House Bill 1613 into House Bill 1694. Delegate Askew, would you like to present your bill?
Oh, well, yes. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. As we all know, VMSDEP and the issues surrounding have been at the top of mind for many of us coming out of last session. And this year we, after seeing the JLARC report, they had more than a few recommendations for this program. We're looking to clarify some of the eligibility rates for the VMSDEP across the Commonwealth by directing the Department of Veteran Services and SHEV to coordinate on reporting related data. There are a few dates that they did mention, no later than November 15th of each year, to the chairman or chairperson of appropriations and the chairperson of Senate Committee on Finance and Appropriations. So, Madam Chair, I ask that we move this to appropriations because this does have a fiscal impact. And I believe there may be some additional changes in appropriations. So I believe after discussions with some of the staff, we will look to take care of the rest of those there, potentially.
Great. Are there any questions or comments from members of the subcommittee? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in support of the bill? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of the bill? And we do not have anyone listed online in support or opposition. The committee operates off of motion. Do we have a second? A motion has been made and properly seconded to report House Bill 1694 and to send it to the Appropriations Committee. The clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. House Bill 1694 reports and is referred to appropriations on a vote of 10-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee.
Next up, we have House Bill 1995.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is House Bill 1995. This bill would create an exemption to SHEV certification for non-credit courses of instruction intended to prepare students for certification as project management professionals. The bill was brought to me by a small business owner in my district. His business provides a number of 2 to 3 day workshops for project management professionals to obtain certifications overseen by nationally recognized certifying organizations like the Scrum Alliance. His customers do not finish with any sort of degree or credit, and his business is not a true institute of post-secondary education like a community college or university. Despite this, our code mandates that his business is required to comply with SHEV regulations and submit enrollment agreements and an annual recertification, which costs them tens of thousands of dollars per year. Our neighbors in Maryland, among other states, already exempt businesses like this from these requirements, which has led my constituent to consider moving his business out of Virginia. We've also connected with other similar businesses in Virginia who are challenged by these regulations, and you've received written comments from at least one who could not be here today. Additionally, similar companies based in other states that offer online classes to Virginians are not regulated by SCHEV, but a Virginia-based non-degree school has to be regulated by SCHEV even if they were to only offer online classes. So there are companies similar to my constituents operating in other states that do not face the same cost that he does, even though they may also serve Virginians. We want to keep and grow small businesses in Virginia. This bill cuts unnecessary red tape and costs to small businesses and ensures that SCHEV uses their resources on true institutes of higher learning. I believe my constituent is online, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Bennett Parker. Does the subcommittee have any questions at this time? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone in opposition? We have one gentleman online, as the delegate noted. Mr. Augustine, would you like to provide testimony in support of the bill?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You have 60 seconds.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Sanjeev Augustine. I live in Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm the founder and CEO at Lightspeed. We are a small consulting company with an even smaller training unit of 3 trainers. For over 5 years, we've had to meet the same rigorous regulatory oversight and requirements as technical schools and even degree granting universities. We've had a difficult time in paying the annual fee, maintaining a comprehensive library to make available to students, maintain software systems and train people to operate them, and then of course pay a yearly fee to SCHEV, which continues to increase. Now, even more hampering is the requirement that every course that we create has to be approved in advance, putting us at a competitive disadvantage. So I urge the subcommittee and this body to please support HB 1995. So that it doesn't unfairly penalize Virginia business, as the delegate noted. It's not just in-state and out-of-state providers, but international competition that we face.
Thank you, Mr. Augustine.
Need to report.
Do we have a second? Second. A motion has been made and properly seconded to report House Bill 1995. Clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. House Bill 1995 reports on a vote of 8-1. Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next up, we have Delegate Walker with House Bill 2045.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. HB 2045 requires SCHEV to collect and publish certain data for students and families on their website. The data presented would include cost of tuition and fees, retention, graduation rates, and other post-graduation statistics. Right now, SCHEV already collects this data points, but not much of it is presented in a way that is easily accessible or helpful to students and families to make informed decisions. Simply put, this bill would enhance transparency around the educational outcomes and would help students and families make more information about higher education and career opportunities in post-graduation. Simply put, they already have this data, they collect it. All they need is just the authority to post it, Madam Chair. And that's the bill.
Thank you, Delegate Walker. Are there any questions or comments from members of the subcommittee? Delegate Walker, before we hear testimony in support or opposition, I just want to reiterate that you just noted that the information data is already collected. This is simply a tool to provide the information in a manner that just may be more appealing to the everyday resident of our Commonwealth, correct?
Yes, Madam Chair. The information is already there, but sometimes it's not easy to access. And, we refer to dashboards. So simply put, we're just trying to make it easier for people to access the information that's already been collected.
Wonderful. Thank you. Is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in support of the bill?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. My name is Scott Fleming. I'm the director of SCHEV. As Mr. Walker noted, the data is collected currently. We are committed to additional transparency at SCHEV. You've seen recently the production of a number of digital dashboards that do present a lot of the data that we collect. This will give us an opportunity to extend that a little bit further, and so we are supportive of the proposed legislation.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition of the bill? Seeing none, and we do not have anyone listed online in support or opposition. Do we have a second? A motion has been made and properly seconded to report House Bill 2045. And this bill needs to go to appropriations. Do you mind amending your motion?
Move to report and send to appropriations.
Wonderful. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. The clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. House Bill 2045 reports and will be referred to appropriations on a vote of 10-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next up, we have Delegate Carr. Delegate Carr has 3 bills before us. Delegate Carr, do you have a preference in the order in which you present your bills?
No, thank you. They're all appropriately good.
Okay. Well, then we'll start with House Bill 2156 and just go right in order. 156.
Sorry. Can we move to 21?
We can move to a different bill.
57, please.
Okay, absolutely. We can start with House Bill 2157.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, members of the committee, there's a substitute.
Would anyone like to move the committee substitute? All those in favor? Anyone in opposition? Hearing none. The substitute is before us.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The substitute makes the effective date of the bill July 1, 2026, and requires a report of the General Assembly on the status of the transition at the end of this calendar year. There was a concern that there wasn't enough time to get everything done that needs to happen for this transition by July 1. And this is a change that needs to happen during the summer between the academic years. So that's how we landed on the date. We also wanted to have a status report on the transition with the General Assembly session in between to make sure we didn't need to make any tweaks next session prior to the bill going into effect. Otherwise, the bill is in keeping with the Secretary of Education's report and recommendations.
Thank you, Delegate Carr. Are there any questions from the subcommittee? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in support of the bill?
I can talk more about the bill if you'd like.
Oh, no, we're going to have someone speak in. Go for it.
All right, thank you. Richard Bland College is a 2-year junior college near Petersburg. Richard Bland is an innovative, dynamic school that serves both traditional and non-traditional students. It is a true junior college, offering a university parallel experience similar to what you would get freshman and sophomore year at a 4-year school, but preparing students for success to transfer to one of the 45 transfer partners. These are often students who otherwise wouldn't go to college at all, putting them on a pathway for success. While at Richard Bland, these students can live in resident halls and participate in intercollegiate athletics. Richard Bland also serves as a leader in dual enrollment for almost 2,000 high school students annually through in-person and online learning. Richard Bland is currently governed by the William and Mary Board of Visitors. There is no overlap with the administration of the two schools. The two schools operate independently and just report to the same board. This legislation will create a separate Board of Visitors for Richard Bland College, which will remain a 2-year school. A board that is singularly focused on Richard Bland will help build on the success there. This change will allow Richard Bland to thrive and serve as an incubator for innovation in higher education. And I believe the president of Richard Bland is on her way here, but in her stead, Mr. Palmore can speak in her stead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Jeff Palmer on behalf of Richard Bland College Foundation. Appreciate the delegate bringing the legislation. A reminder for folks that this was a recommendation of a report by the Secretary of Education. 2 sessions ago, we brought this legislation, and the budget asked the Secretary to review the governance of Richard Bland, and she recommended this board with the enactment clauses that are included in this bill. So appreciate it. Hope you'll support the bill. And we do have a student here from Richard Bland. If you'll give her a few seconds to speak, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the subcommittee and distinguished guests. My name is Malia Grady, and I'm a second-year student at Richard Bland College. When I first came to RBC, my plan was to complete my general education requirements and transfer to Georgia Tech. But by the end of my freshman year, I realized RBC was so much more than I expected. It became a place that helped me grow academically, personally, and as a leader. Living in the dorms gave me the opportunity to build lifelong friendships and immerse myself in close-knit, supportive community. My professors and learner mentors have gone above and beyond to ensure I have the tools to succeed. Because of them, I've gained confidence and clarity about my future. RBC has also given me leadership opportunities I've never imagined. As president of the Student Assembly, I have learned how to advocate for others and create meaningful change on campus. From academics and athletics to student life, RBC offers a truly transformative experience that sets every student up for success. Thank you for letting me share my story. I hope you will support HB 2157.
Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing of your experience at Richard Bland College. We're so grateful for that.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of the bill besides the comments and testimony that we've already heard? Seeing no additional speakers, do we have anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, and we do not have anyone signed up online, the committee operates by motion.
Report the substitute.
And we do not need to send, do we need to send this to appropriations? Give me 1 second, just to clarify. Yes, we need to send this to appropriations.
Need to report the substitute.
I've been told that it's not needed upstairs.
Okay, perfect. So then we can just move it with the substitute. Okay, a motion has been made and probably seconded to report House Bill 2157 with the substitute. And the clerk will open the roll. The bill reports by a vote of 10-0. Thank you, Delegate Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
We have 2 more before us. Would you like to go to
2161? Thank you. Madam Chairman, members of the committee, this bill is intended to implement recommendations from JLARC's 2024 review of the leadership and governance of the VCU health system. The bill makes several changes to the health system's board of directors and the role of the health system's chief executive officer. Changes are designed to implement JLARC's recommendations for improving the board's expertise and its ability to act with independence and objectivity, while maintaining a necessary level of coordination and collaboration between the health system and the university. The bill reduces the size of the board and ensures that the majority of members do not have a direct affiliation with the university or the health system. It adds necessary backgrounds and expertise to the board, including finance, health system management, and commercial real estate, and extends terms from 3 to 4 years. It prohibits any employee of the university or the health system from serving as chair of the health system's board. It prescribes that the university president is an ex officio member of the health system board, but without voting privileges. It ensures that the health system has a full-time leader who is accountable to the health system board by creating a CEO position. The enactment clauses ensure that existing members can serve out their terms if they extend past the effective date of the bill.
Thank you, Delegate Carr. Are there any questions from members of the subcommittee? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of the bill in the room? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, and
Madam Chair.
yes,
Yeah, may I ask a question?
yes.
I had the wrong button on.
Delegate
Yeah.
McQuinn?
I'm just wanting to, there's significant changes that's been recommended by JLOC. And so this has been, I guess, is this by request that you're bringing the recommendations from JLOC from the university?
Yes, Madam Chairman, Delegate McQuinn, the JLARC recommendations came out in 2024, and June of 2024, and there was a sense from the General Assembly and the administration that they wanted to adhere to those recommendations. So that's where this came across.
Okay. Right. All right.
Delegate McQuinn?
I'm okay. Thank you.
We have no individual signed up to provide testimony in support or in opposition online. So the committee operates by motion. Do we have a second? Second. Having been moved and properly seconded to report House Bill 2161, which needs to be sent to appropriations. I'm so sorry. Can you do that again?
Move to report and send to appropriations.
Do you have a second? Second. Thank you. Having been moved and properly seconded to report House Bill 2161 and send it to appropriations, the clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. House Bill 2161 reports and is referred to appropriations by a vote of 10-0. And then your final bill, House Bill 2156.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's 2156, and there's a substitute which actually just clarifies the language according to the intent of the bill. And I move that the amendment be moved.
There is a request that the amendment come before the subcommittee, and there's been a motion that's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Without opposition, yes, the substitutes before the committee. Feel free to continue to present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And what this is I would say a technical fix, and I'm going to let the people who are most technically apt at explaining it come before. This is Alexis Earhart from University of Virginia.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Alexis Earhart from the University of Virginia. This is a technical change in the code that was brought to us by a number of institutions from our international studies departments. Right now, the code is unclear about the balance that we are supposed to be, frankly, it's incorrect about the balance we are supposed to be maintaining when it comes to formalized exchange programs. So we're trying to make that correction where we would balance the number of inbound students coming to our institutions versus those outbound going to other institutions so that we can remain revenue neutral. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's sort of the bottom line with the bill. We want to get back where we can be in compliance with what best practice is and have the code align with that.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the subcommittee? Seeing no one in the queue, of course, clearly, on behalf of UVA, I'm assuming that you're speaking in support of the legislation.
We do support the bill, and we appreciate Delegate Carr carrying the bill on behalf of the institutions. Thank you.
And do we have anyone who is speaking in opposition? Oh, sorry, do we have additional support?
Hello, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. My name is Lauren Posey. On behalf of George Mason University, we support this bill and thank the patron for her efforts.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of the bill? Seeing none?
Need to report with the substitute. Second.
Wonderful. Having been moved and properly seconded to report House Bill 2156 with substitute, the clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. House Bill 2156 reports with substitute on a vote of 9-0. And last but not least, we have bills from members of the subcommittee. Delegate Cohen, would you like to present your bill? You're welcome to remain seated.
I'd be so happy to. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm presenting HB 1805. You may recognize this bill from last year when I was so grateful for our House colleagues to pass it 91-9. It sadly, or probably for the good actually, wound up being turned into a study in conference, and Chev did a great job and came back and affirmed that an IEP that had been valid in the last 3 years of high school should be sufficient proof of a student disability. So HB 1805 this year would standardize disability documentation requirements across public colleges and universities in Virginia by requiring them to accept an IEP that was updated in the last 3 years of high school as proof of a disability, streamlining the process for students to qualify for accommodations. The bill aims to eliminate the need for an unnecessary, often costly psychological or medical evaluation for students with previously documented disabilities. This bill does not in any way prescribe what accommodations are appropriate in the college and university setting. Rather, it is just used to establish documentation. The accommodations process remains an iterative process between the student and the colleges or universities. I really appreciate the partnership with the colleges and universities. I'd like to particularly thank GMU, UVA, and JMU for their input, which really did make this a better bill. As a parent of a child with disabilities who's now a successful sophomore at VCU, I can tell you firsthand how vital it is to ensure that our students have appropriate supports to successfully navigate college.
Thank you, Delegate. Thank you, Delegate Cohen. Are there any questions from members of the subcommittee? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in support of the bill?
Madam Chair, a member of the committee, I'm Terry Morgan with the Virginia Board for People with Disabilities. This bill is going to have a positive impact on students with disabilities and their families who are interested in post-secondary education. We thank Delegate Cohen for carrying the bill, and we support the bill.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and I'd like to thank Delegate Cohen for bringing this bill before the committee. And we work with VCASE, Virginia Council of Administrators of Special Education. We believe this opens the doors for opportunity for our students with disabilities across Virginia. And thank you for your support of this transition services. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in opposition of the bill? Seeing none. And we do not have anyone signed up online to provide testimony in support or in opposition of the bill. The committee operates by motion.
To appropriations.
Having been moved and properly reported to, I'm sorry, Delegate Cohen, would you like to provide final words?
My apologies, Madam Chair. It does not have a FIS associated to it in any way, so it would be my hope that this would just move on to full committee and not go the appropriations route.
I have a note to send this to appropriations, so the powers that be have dictated that House Bill 1805, as it has been moved and probably seconded, will be sent to appropriations. The clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. House Bill 1805 reports by a vote of 7-2. Thank you, Delegate Cohen. Delegate Lawfer, would you like to present your bill?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. This is House Bill 1621, and I do have a substitute. And speaking to that.
Would anyone like to move the committee substitute? Yes, Del. Hearing no opposition, the substitute is before us. Delegate Lawfer.
Thank you. House Bill 1621 seeks to add a faculty and staff member to be chosen by their peers to be a non-voting member of the Board of Visitors. It is similar to House Bill 1467 last year that I brought to this committee, and it was supported last session. The bill was brought to me by university campus workers, and it will bring a more democratic process to our Board of Visitors. These are key members of our public institutions that impact the experience for our students. Having the voice of these critical members will add to the effectiveness of the Board of Visitors' decisions. Virginia's public universities have a strong tradition of shared governance, and allowing faculty and staff representatives continues that tradition while ensuring that the interests of the staff are represented to the best degree possible. Many of our secondary institutions already have a faculty member on the Board of Visitors, and it would simply be adding a staff member as well. Staff makes up 52 to 75% of the workforce in our higher education institutions. Their jobs vary from facility maintenance, academic advisors, health system workers, student affairs, and resident life staff. These are the very people that are closest to our students, with a very important voice that is now missing from the Board of Visitors. Currently, we have 2 institutions that have faculty and staff members on their Board of Visitors, and I believe, and I think many do, that adding these voices will enhance the decision-making process for our Board of Visitors and create a better environment for our young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Lawfer. Are there any questions from members of the subcommittee? Seeing no one in the queue, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in support of the bill?
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, thank you for the time to let me speak here. My name is Brian Turner. I represent the Virginia Conference of the American Association of University Professors and the Faculty Senate of Virginia. We thank Delegate Lawfer for bringing this legislation forward. It's really important for the effectiveness of a Board of Visitors to know that the faculty representative, not a member of the board, but a representative to the board, and the staff representative have the confidence of the staff, have the confidence of the faculty that they represent, and that and then they are confident that the information they're getting is actually supported by the faculty and by the staff. And it's also important on the other side that the faculty have the confidence in their representative and that the staff have their confidence in the representative. When that breaks down, the effectiveness of governance, of shared governance in higher education also breaks down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, George Mason University is neutral on this bill. This is the way that George Mason University's board already operates, so we have no concerns with this bill at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone, not all universities, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the bill? Seeing none, we have 2 individuals signed up to provide testimony virtually. First up, we have Dr. Heineke. You have 60 seconds.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Oh, awesome. Madam Chair and members of the committee, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Walt Heineke. I'm immediate past president of the UVA chapter of the American Association of University Professors, as well as a member of the Virginia Conference of the AUP Executive Committee. I just want to speak today about supporting this bill. I think it's really important for us to have some consistency across Virginia public universities on the selection of faculty as well as staff members. This bill adds an important element to what many universities around the Commonwealth already do. It adds a staff member to the Board of Visitors as a representative, which is very important because our staff are very important constituents in the governance and the shared governance process of our universities, and a voice that is currently not heard on most university boards of visitors. I would suggest one slight variation if you're considering variation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Heineke. We appreciate your testimony. Any additional comment you can provide in writing? Thank you. Next up, we have Ms. Parks.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Cecilia Parks. I am a member of United Campus Workers of Virginia. I'm also a staff member. I'm a librarian at UVA, although my comments represent my personal opinions and not that of the university. I appreciate you giving me the time today. So I'm here to speak in favor of HB 1621. What this bill would do is it would bring more voices with deep expertise of the issues and challenges, the needs of our faculty, staff, and students to the table where the most important decisions are being made about our universities. And doing so will increase effectiveness and our ability to provide services to our faculty, staff, students, communities, et cetera. And this is something that I've noticed. I've watched Board of Visitors meetings before and noticed that there are questions that are not being asked, issues that are not being raised, simply because of the people who are in the room, who are at the table, don't have the expertise to ask those questions or raise those issues. So this bill will help address some of those issues, and I would also direct the committee to look at some of the written comments for folks who couldn't be here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The committee operates by motion. With the substitute? Okay. A motion has been made and properly seconded to report House Bill 1621 with substitute. The clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. House Bill 1621 reports with substitute by a vote of 6-3. And we have one final bill on the agenda from yours truly. I'm going to pass over the role of chair to Delegate McQuinn.
Yes. Madam Chair, House Bill 1878. If you will present the bill, please.
Thank you, Delegate McQuinn. Madam Chair, 1878 is a simple bill that proposes to rename the role of the Director of the State Council of Higher Education of Virginia to Executive Director. This technical adjustment will streamline internal operations and enhance communication with key partners, and while also elevating SHEV's role in advocating for our public colleges and universities. And that concludes the bill presentation. Madam Chair?
That was very succinct, Madam Chair.
Succinct over here.
Are there any questions at this time from the subcommittee? No questions? Okay. There's anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of the bill? Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Delegate Sewell, Madam Chair. Thank you for patroning the bill and carrying it forward. Scott Fleming, Director of SHEV, we are supportive.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone who's in opposition of the bill? Want to speak in opposition? Do we have anyone online? We do report. All right. So a motion has been made. Could we have a second, please? And properly second to report House Bill 1878. The clerk will now open the roll, and the members will record their vote on the electronic voting system. Thank you. Clerk will close the roll, and the bill, House Bill 1878, has passed on a vote to 9-0. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate.
As there's no further work before the subcommittee on today, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
The motion and the second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Hearing no objections, the committee will rise.